The vast majority of news in the U.S. is controlled by 5 huge corporations, and News Voice is fighting back against media monopolies. It's the first ever entirely open, crowdsourced, democratized platform for news. Use the link right underneath this video to download the News Voice app for free. Tuesday night, we were told that Donald Trump was not going to be addressing the nation about the strike by Iran on 2 American bases in Iraq. But yesterday, Donald Trump did address the nation, and it was a bizarre, rambling, confused, dishonest speech. But the one upside to the speech is that it does seem Donald Trump is not planning to immediately escalate with Iran into a full-scale war. We should all be happy about that. Now, before we get into this, especially because there's some stuff in the speech that's funny in the way that Trump sometimes makes us laugh so that we don't cry. But this is very serious stuff. People's lives are on the line here. People's lives are also on the line with healthcare and immigration and many issues. But they're on the line here in a very specific way. We are a laughingstock with this guy as the president, and we don't want to forget the seriousness of this, even when we watch the wacky parts here. So let's start with Donald Trump's opening line, which is Iran will never have nuclear weapons.
As long as I'm president of the United States, Iran will never be allowed to have a nuclear weapon.
Now, we're all thrilled that no one was harmed, but it is sort of a strange place to start. And the big thing that the Trumpists are pointing to in this speech is that Donald Trump says Iran is standing down.
Our great American forces are prepared for anything. Iran appears to be standing down, which is a good thing for all parties concerned and a very good thing for the world. No American or Iraqi lives were lost because of the precautions taken, the dispersal of forces, and an early warning system that worked very well.
Right-wingers are loving this because to them, Donald Trump saying Iran is standing down is a sign that Donald Trump has won, that Trump is the alpha, that Trump has dominated Iran because he says Iran is standing down. Now, of course, this is very much in the eye of the beholder. Trump killed General Qasem Soleimani. Iran bombed 2 bases, and both parties are now saying, if you don't keep going, we won't keep going. It's not exactly standing down, but the Trumpists are claiming some kind of weird victory, when in reality, there are no winners here, certainly not here in the United States where Donald Trump is still president. Now, let's get to a part of the statement by Donald Trump. It is sort of hard to hear and understand Trump often in the speech because of the amount of sniffing. I read that he sniffed 85 times during the speech. Something was going on with his nose, but try to understand what Trump says here.
Iran's hostilities substantially increased after the foolish Iran nuclear deal was signed in 2013. And they were given $150 billion, not to mention $1.8 billion in cash.
So he's blaming Obama, of course, but this $150 billion that Iran was given is a farce. It's far less than that. That's been fact-checked. But the real moment that I want to get to in the blame Obama part of the speech is this next one.
The missiles fired last night at us and our allies were paid for with the funds made available by the last administration. The regime also greatly tightened the reins on their own country, even recently killing 1,500 people at the many protests.
Paid for with funds made available by the Obama administration. That is extremely coy language and deceptive language. It was Iranian money that we had put a hold on, and the hold was released as part of the nuclear deal. It's extraordinarily disingenuous and deceptive to say that in any way was the U.S. giving Iran money. That's like saying if you owe someone $100, but you're holding the $100 and you give it to them, and then they go and take that $100 and buy drugs. To say you are responsible for them buying drugs is a stretch. It's a very childish notion. You were holding the money for them. Now, Trump is putting in place immediate sanctions on Iran. He says that amid more of this constant sniffing.
We continue to evaluate options in response to Iranian aggression. The United States will immediately impose additional punishing economic sanctions on the Iranian regime. These powerful sanctions will remain until Iran changes its behavior. In recent months alone, Iran has seized ships in international waters, fired an unprovoked strike on Saudi Arabia, and shot down 2 U.S. drones.
And then, of course, maybe the biggest news, and this is something we should be glad about, and I'll talk later about the context of this. Donald Trump does not appear to be escalating, offering sort of an olive branch to Iran in the shared goal of the destruction of ISIS.
Al-Baghdadi was trying again to rebuild the ISIS caliphate and failed. Tens of thousands of ISIS fighters have been killed or captured during my administration. ISIS is a natural enemy of Iran. The destruction of ISIS is good for Iran, and we should work together on this and other shared priorities. Finally, to the people and leaders of Iran, we want you to have a future, and a great future, one that you deserve, one of prosperity at home and harmony with the nations of the world.
And then one Donald Trump off the rails moment, again, being called everything from a sign of a neurological issue to who knows what. Donald Trump mentions a compliment shades. Not sure if that's a window dressing or a political outcome. Take a look.
Over the last 3 years, under my leadership, our economy is stronger than ever before, and America has achieved energy independence. These historic accomplishments change our strategic priorities. These are accomplishments that nobody thought were possible.
Very odd moment. So overall, the speech was filled with Donald Trump's lies, blaming Obama, shirking responsibility, false claims of success. But it does seem that Iran's ploy, in a sense, worked. Iran retaliated. They got a response to the assassination of Qasem Soleimani on the record, but they gave Donald Trump a way out. Trump also believes that he won. He got Qasem Soleimani. Iran retaliated, but didn't kill anybody. So is this all good? Well, the X factor is that Donald Trump wants all of this to help him get reelected, to distract from impeachment. If nothing else happens, the conversation goes right back to Donald Trump being an impeached president, to Donald Trump as a vulnerable incumbent president. That's where we are today. We should all be glad that it appears as though there's not going to be a further escalation. But what I want to talk about later today, and we're going to talk about next, is the fact that Trump backed away from a problem he created can't be seen as an administration. This is like taking credit for putting out a fire that you started. I think it was Bernie Sanders who used that metaphor. And that's what I want to talk about next.